Bamboo for sale, set number one. This is the first of several sets of bamboo that I've got. I'm loading some of my extra stock. The price for 5 stalks of bamboo is $330 plus shipping. The reason I set the number of pieces per set at 5 is that I think it optimizes the shipping price. It sets the weight at a range where you get pretty reasonable shipping rate for it through EMS via Japan Post. Shipping should be about $100, give or take $20 in either direction, depending on what country you live in. All right, so I'm going to show you the pieces for set one. Let's see the tone that I'm seeing. If I get the shade just right, you can see a relatively accurate representation of the coloring. This one's a little bit darker. This would be bamboo for a 1.95 shakuhachi starting at this node. It's right in between a 1.9 and a 2.0. That means you could easily make a 1.9 out of it, or a little bit of a long 1.9. The nodes fall in just the right place. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just got 2 nodes on the bottom, so it would be a 6-node shakuhachi. If you wanted to go ahead and use that extra node on top, you could probably get what it looks like a 2.65. Would that work? Question mark, question mark. Actually, yes, it probably would, but some of the holes would be a little bit close to the nodes. You could do it without putting the holes right on the nodes. They'd be close, but you could do that. A 2.65 would also work for this one. And this one is a... Did I write that right? At 1 point... It's like a 1.8 or a 1.9. A 1.8 would not work, but a 1.9 would work. This would be a 1.9, and it's got an extra node on the bottom. There, you got a big clump of nodes. Again, this is also a very straight piece of bamboo, and a little bit of a nice curve, and that nice kind of dark caramel coloring to it. All right, just like this one here that's got a little bit of modeling on the sides, the one that I just showed you. The third piece, this is like a little bit curvy, bendy. You might want to do tame naoshi or just kind of make a bendy flute. I usually keep my most bendy flutes for myself because maybe some people like the way they look, some people don't. This is my 1.8 that I play regularly. It's all like, it's like a wave, right? Look at that. But it plays just fine. So personally, I don't mind that. It can be kind of fun to make a flute that way, just out of the natural shape of the bamboo, and that is what you would kind of have to do in this case because it's got a little bit of a interesting curve to it there. Within that curve though, it's relatively straight, so you still can make a pretty straight piece of straight flute, right? This would be, by the way, a let's see, 2.7, 2.4. You could make, well, there you go. You could make a 2.0. It'd be a super wide bore 2.0. Or a relatively wide bore 2.0. It's kind of fat, and that's kind of nice. So how about that? Or if you wanted to, you might be able to make a 2.8 out of this guy. So there you go. This one is a little bit funky in that the guy that I got it from originally several years ago seems to have put a clump of glue and sawdust there on the bottom to kind of repair part of that root, so you'd want to sand that down and reshape it a little bit. And this one would work out for a, let's see, a 7-node. Yeah, you could make a little, it would be a little bit of a long 1.5. If you wanted to use an 8-node shakuhachi, you could make something a little bit of a long 2.0 would also just work, but the holes would be a little close to the nodes. If it were me, I'd probably just use the bottom parts of it, and I would make something like a 2.5. I might just actually cut off that bottom part of the root altogether and make a 2.5 out of that. That would work nicely. I'm sorry, 1.5. I said 2.5, but I meant 1.5. All right, that's the fourth piece, and this is the fifth piece here. This would need a, this would be a 2.05. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 7 node 2.05, so a little bit longer than a 2.0. And as you can see, it's a little bit curvy, right? You could either let it curve to the side this way when you make it, right? Curves just kind of gently to the side this way, and it curves up in the front, or you could choose to have this part very straight, but in that case, the end would curve off to the side a little bit. But it would make still a fine flute, and the bore is just the right size for that, I would say. Right, and again, that sort of a caramel coloring on this one is kind of nice. So that's set number 1, $330 plus shipping, and you got yourself 5 nice pieces of bamboo right there. I'll show them to you one more time in order. You've got this guy, right? And then you've got this guy. You got this guy, right? The kind of wavy one. You got the guy with the thingy on the end that you could cut off and make a 1.5 out of. And you got this guy, the 2.05. All right, so there we have it. Cheers.